Hello, I have to be in the green room today because I'm going to talk about flowers. I thought I would pick out two to talk about. There are lots of references to flowers in general in the Bible and to plants such as hyssop, but not so many to flowers that we would recognise. However, the rose and the lily are mentioned by name. Perhaps I was influenced too by my own experiences of these flowers. When I was 21, I had a party. Two young men, Eddie and Dave, were at it. They were members of my maths honours class and, like all students, were not well off. So they had clubbed together to buy for me a dozen red roses. How romantic for a young woman of 21. As I read up about roses just now, I discovered that the number of red roses is quite symbolic, and 10 is considered to represent perfect, undying love. Goodness knows what 12 must represent. They were lovely guys, but I have to say that they soon disappeared from my life, so it wasn't perfect love. In Song of Songs, the speaker refers to her beloved as a rose of Sharon, something special, standing out in its beauty. A rose of Sharon is a lovely pink colour and is outstanding among roses. It is more the symbolism of roses which brings us lessons from the Bible. A white rose is the rose of purity, of innocence, of unity, of faithfulness, and of love stronger than death. It is the rose of Mary, the Mother of God. It is the rose suitable for a bride. We think of the red rose mostly as a symbol of love, and it certainly is that, but it's more than that. It symbolises the blood of Christ, his love poured out for us, love that overcomes the thorns that were placed on his head. I remember when I first started visiting hospitals, I was told not to take in a bunch of red and white flowers, as some wards would refuse to let you leave them because they said it symbolised death. Well, I can see the general meaning might come from the idea of Christ's death, but when you put red and white together, you are symbolising the birth of Christ through the purity of Mary and his death through the shedding of his blood. Surely symbols of hope and salvation. Now, of course, you're not allowed to take flowers into hospital wards, but if someone gives you a bouquet of red and white flowers, then remember that they stand for Christ and what he means for us. When I started looking up lilies, I certainly found lots of references to them in both the Old Testament and the New Testament. But what was surprising was that they don't mean quite what I thought they meant. Perhaps you, like me, think of the big white lilies we often see at funerals. I used to love these lilies. Indeed, I still do. But I cannot be in the same room as them, which makes life difficult sometimes when you're a minister. I visited an elderly lady after a funeral several years ago, and her house was absolutely full of lilies. It turned out to be a long visit, as she had a lot to say to me, and by the time I came out, I was snuffling away and I could hardly breathe. I thought the fresh air would blow away the irritation, but it didn't. Over the evening, I coughed more and more, and I ended up in hospital with a severe chest infection, and I've been allergic to lilies ever since. Lilies are often used of funerals today because they have been associated with peace and serenity, right from biblical times, even before. They suggest that the departed is now at peace, and they are said to express the feelings of their giver, that the bereaved person might know peace and serenity. In a kind of a way, they say what most people find difficult to say after a death. Lilies in the Bible are sometimes thought to mean water lilies, which are large and white and readily found in that area. But to my surprise, lilies can mean lots of different flowers, from anemones to irises, indeed any flower of the same family, and particularly in the New Testament, the red lily that is found around these parts. The word really represents the beauty of flowers generally, and when referring to white flowers, speaks of purity and simplicity. Indeed, there's a lily known as the Madonna lily. They are used on furniture in the temple to remind people of the purity of God and the Messiah. So maybe it is the lily which gives me my thought for today. The rose speaks of beauty and love, but the word lily reminds me to look deeper into things than just a first glance. And isn't that true of people? How often have you been surprised to find that someone has far more skills or depth than you had ever imagined? Just yesterday I heard it said that the need in the churches to invent new ways of worship has brought to the attention of the congregation people who had never been really noticed before. I remember too the surprise of a young doctor who, when he found time to sit and listen to the older patients, was amazed to find what they had done in life. So our thought for the day is to see beyond the outward appearance of a person, just as Jesus did. He didn't need to work at it, but we do. But if we think of each person as a treasure box to be opened, what a lot of lovely surprises we could get. Let's pray. Lord, help us not to make hasty decisions and assumptions about people and situations, but to have patience and interest enough to find what lies behind the outward appearance. May we then bring your love to our relationships and living, and help to make this world a beautiful place. Amen. Thank you for watching. Bye.